Donison, who's at the new Nightingale Hospital in East London. John, there are going to be thousands of beds for coronavirus patients there eventually. What sort of progress is being made?
Well, look, there's a lot more activity behind me at the moment than there has been over the last few days, and I think we're nearly there. Later this week, possibly as soon as Wednesday, we think this facility is going to open, initially with 500 beds equipped with ventilators and oxygen, but expanding to potentially 4,000. Now, there are similar facilities being set up in Birmingham, in Manchester, in Wales, and also in Scotland. Here we've had the army inside helping out, and in effect they're building what amounts to an enormous hospital ward in just a matter of days. So it's pretty intensive work. Now, today we had the news came through that several airlines have asked for their staff to volunteer to work in these new Nightingale hospitals. EasyJet, who of course today announced that they were grounding all their planes, have written to some 9,000 staff, including 4,000 cabin crew, asking for them to volunteer, people with first aid training, CPR, that sort of thing. Virgin Atlantic have done the same. Now, we understand that they'll get training and it will be work involving maybe changing bedding, that sort of thing, under the supervision of experienced doctors and nursing. As I say, we're expecting it here to open within the next few days.
Okay, John, many thanks. John Donison there. Well, we can talk now to our assistant political editor, Norman Smith. And Norman, the issue of the testing of NHS workers to see if they've had the virus continues to be a really burning political issue. And there's been confusion over the numbers that have been tested.
Well, Rita, I think it's probably true to say in any crisis you have to give clear, consistent information, otherwise people begin to doubt what they're being told. And we have had, frankly, some confusion this morning over the amount of testing being done, with one government minister saying 7,000 people have been tested on a day at the weekend, others saying 10,000, the department saying 9,000. The reason is this, that yes, there was the potential to carry out 10,000 tests, but only 7,000 people were actually tested because some people, for clinical reasons, needed to be tested more than once. That said, we are going to have to dramatically increase the level of testing if we want to get in a position where we can ease the lockdown following those warnings at the weekend that it could potentially even go on for 6 months. Now, this morning, Downing Street is saying the Prime Minister is sticking by his assertion that he hopes to turn the corner within 12 weeks. That might be optimistic, but in better news, important better news, Professor Neil Ferguson, who's the man who's fronted up much of the science on coronavirus, this morning suggesting that the early signs are that the rate of infection could be beginning to slow since the lockdown. In other words, not so many people are being admitted to hospital. This doesn't show up and won't show up in the fatality figures, the number of deaths, because there's a sort of 2 to 3 week lag between people being infected and then becoming terminally ill. But it is a glimmer of hope that maybe the lockdown is beginning to work.
Okay, Norman, many thanks. Norman Smith there, our assistant political editor. Now, Prince Charles is out of self-isolation a week after it was announced that he